You ever think you're just inheriting someone else's ruins, some dusty, broken-down dream that nobody's cared about in years? Yeah, that's exactly what I thought the day I first set foot at the old Starlight Drive-In. And trust me, if it wasn't for my dog Coda, a stubborn, gray and white shepherd with the nose of a bloodhound, I probably would have turned around right there and left that place to rot. But Coda, he kept barking and scratching at this ancient popcorn machine, making a scene like there was something behind it only he could smell. So I humored him, moved the heavy thing, and found a loose wall panel. Behind it, not money, not gold, just this old leather ledger. Pages full of strange codes and weird numbers, names I didn't recognize, dates that made no sense. That's when I realized, maybe I hadn't inherited a graveyard. Maybe it was a map. Maybe I was meant to dig up secrets better left buried. That's how it started, the day the quiet in Montana changed. For me, silence had always been comfort. You get used to it. Wind in the pines, boots crunching gravel, the gentle noise of daily chores on a little patch of land you call your own. At 42, I'd become part of the landscape. Lean, sunburned, silver at the temples, the sort of guy people might mistake for a local if they ever saw me at the feed store. But most folks didn't. Only company I kept was Coda, and that dog was more partner than pet. We'd built a routine to keep my thoughts in check. Feed the chickens, mend the fence, chop wood. Life was simple. That morning, though, everything changed when the mail carrier left a heavy envelope from a lawyer up in Bozeman. I almost didn't open it. But curiosity, man, that's a dangerous thing. Turns out, my Uncle Richard, the only family I had left, had passed. Left me the Starlight Drive-In, a property I barely remembered from childhood. My first thought, sell it, forget it, move on. Then another letter, handwritten by the old man himself. Just a line or two about finding a place to drop anchor. Something about not letting the stars at Starlight fade. And that simple note, hell, it broke something in me. I won't lie. Memories came flooding back, the kind you try to bury deep. And if you've ever carried the weight of failure, you know what I mean. There was this girl, years ago, overseas. Wide-eyed and terrified. Her mom pulling her back from a doorway I failed to secure. You spend your life trying to protect people, then 1 second of hesitation, and you're the guy who failed. I was haunted by that, still am, sometimes. So maybe that's why I drove out to the Starlight instead of calling the lawyer to sell. Maybe I just needed to not fail again, for once. Driving up, the place looked as bad as I expected. Rusted sign, weeds taller than my waist, everything falling apart. The wind moaned through rows of busted speaker posts and made me feel like I was walking through someone else's memories, not my own. Coda stuck close, like he knew I'd need him. I poked around, unlocked the old concession stand, found stale air thick with dust, faded movie posters, and that popcorn machine that would change everything. Upstairs, the projectors were relics. Downstairs, I found a carved wooden horse, a kid's toy. The moment I touched it, I was back in the war. Hearing explosions, seeing faces I couldn't save. My legs just about gave out. Coda nudged me until I came back. But that dog, he's got a sense for trouble and secrets. When he started barking at the popcorn machine, I finally listened, moved it, and found that panel. The ledger inside made no sense. Dates when the drive-in should have been closed, impossible quantities of popcorn and soda, all logged by Uncle Richard. My gut said it was a code, and for the first time in years, I felt something spark inside me, something that wasn't just guilt and regret. The next few days, I cleaned the place up, patched fences, cleared weeds. Spent nights in the dim light, trying to break the ledger's code. That puzzle, it gave me a mission again, a reason to get up that wasn't just about getting through another day. That's when trouble started. First, some fancy developer named Maddox shows up in a shiny truck, acting like he owns the world. Smooth talker, all smiles. Offers to buy the land and clean up my junk. Something about him made my skin crawl. I turned him down. After that, things got worse. Fence cut, trash dumped. Then one morning, get out. Spray painted across the drive-in screen in huge black letters. And you know what? It worked. I broke. Thought about selling. Sat in my dark house, ready to call it quits, until Coda laid his big head on my arm and looked at me with that loyalty only a dog can give. That moment, yeah, it hit me. I'd been running my whole life, from the battlefield, from responsibility, from myself. Selling out now would just be one more retreat, one more failure. So I didn't. Instead, I went back to the Starlight, scrubbed the screen clean until my hands ached, and swore I'd stand my ground. Even if I was standing alone, I started searching the place from top to bottom, looking for more clues, more answers. Coda led me to a hidden shed I'd never noticed, a crumbling old structure, swallowed by vines behind the screen. Inside was an ancient truck, and in the glove box, a waterproof bag with a metal film canister. Inside that, not film, journals, letters, black and white photos. A second code book, the Rosetta Stone for the ledger. Turned out, the popcorn and soda weren't snacks. They were people. Families. My uncle had run a secret network out of the Starlight, sheltering women and kids on the run, folks with nowhere else to go. The drive-in had been a sanctuary, right under everyone's noses. Letters thanked him for saving lives. Journal entries detailed repairs, meals, nights spent in safety. It was humbling, and it put my own regrets in a whole new light. My uncle hadn't been hiding. He'd been protecting. And suddenly, I realized, so could I. One coded phone call later, I was sitting across from Lincoln, the old county sheriff, in a little diner. He told me stories about my uncle risking his life for strangers in blizzards, hiding people from troublemakers and abusers. The guy wasn't just my uncle. He was a legend. And Maddox? He wasn't just after land. He wanted to erase what my uncle built so he could use the place for his own shady business. That wasn't going to happen, not while I was breathing. So I fought back the only way I knew. Set up lights, speakers, every trick I could think of, waiting for Maddox to make his move. Sure enough, he came in the night, with muscle and backup. Coda and I sprung the trap, chaos, light, sound, and one fast dog taking down a bad guy. Maddox came at me hard, hurling every insult he could, trying to break me with words about cowardice and broken men. For a second, he almost did. But then I saw Coda standing guard, and I remembered every life my uncle had mended. I realized the strength isn't in hiding your scars. It's in using them to shield others. We won that night, not just against Maddox and his men, but against the kind of darkness that creeps in when nobody's watching. The sheriff and his deputies arrived, hauled the bad guys off, and for the first time in a long while, I felt a peace deeper than any silence I'd ever known. Word got around, and folks from town started pitching in, donations, labor, dog food at the gate. The Starlight became a real sanctuary, not just for people, but for rescue dogs, too. The community showed up. Volunteers worked weekends, and by the next summer, we were hosting movie nights again. Kids running, families laughing, Coda lying in the grass, everybody together under a patchwork sky full of real stars. I'll never forget that first big screening, watching the field fill up, knowing the drive-in wasn't just mine anymore. It was ours. A place to start over, to mend, to find hope in the most forgotten corners. And as the credits rolled, I slipped out to the edge of the field, Coda by my side, looking out at all those families lit up by the giant screen, and thought, yeah, we're finally home. You know, maybe that's the real story here. Not about a man or a dog or an old drive-in, but about the way a broken place, given half a chance, can heal broken people. And if you've ever been guided home by a loyal friend or turned a mistake into a sanctuary, I hope you'll share your story below. Tell me, where do you find your Starlight? And if you want to hear more, stick around. The next tale is waiting right on the screen.